fucking stop!
How's it going, everybody? The Dark Lord here. So today I thought that it would be a brilliant idea to take a look at someone that I haven't actually talked about in quite some time, funnily enough, and that is, of course, none other than Reforge Gaming. Now, of course, I have to at least give a little bit of background before we actually get into this one, because this kind of technically involves another individual that I've at least talked about a handful of times on stream, and that is, of course, the YouTube channel that goes by the name of Couple of Fools. Now, of course, to summarize everything leading up to what we're about to be taking a look at here today, Couple of Fools is a self-proclaimed PlayStation fanboy who ended up getting his hands on an Xbox One or Xbox Series X. I don't exactly know which one because I don't really pay attention to console generations like that. Basically, he ended up getting his hands on an Xbox because his girlfriend grabbed an Xbox because, well, she knew that he was like a fan of like the Elder Scrolls series, so... And, of course, since the Elder Scrolls series is mainly on Xbox or on PC, of course, decided to get that for him so that way he could, be able to play those very easily with Game Pass. And, well, that's exactly what he did. He had a whole bunch of fun with it, pointed out a lot of the things that he really liked about the console, and basically, kind of ultimately turned himself around from just being a fanboy for one particular console and kind of just realized that fanboyism is just really dumb. Now, of course, for the most part, a lot of the reception to this turnaround was pretty positive for him, but of course a lot of the PlayStation fanboy crowd didn't really like it that much, which is to be expected. And of course, Couple of Fools has made a handful of different videos going over a lot of the more unhinged comments from PlayStation fanboys that have been left underneath a lot of his videos. Now, of course, another thing that he recently did is, of course, talk about Reforge Gaming and his terrible take on some of the things that he personally likes about the Xbox, like, for example, the quick resume feature and whatever else. Honestly, just, it just kind of comes across as just extremely silly. And of course, because of the fact that Couple of Fools decided to talk about Reforge Gaming immediately caught wind of it and began to crash out on stream over it, and that's basically what we're going to be taking a look at here today. At least we're going to be taking a look at some of the crash out here. Not all of it is really necessary because after a certain point it just kind of becomes a little bit redundant to cover, but I'm at least going to be covering some of the more, juicy bits right here that just kind of make me laugh a little.
Who cares? Like, I'm drawn by games and quality, and the entire reason that guy did a reaction video to me is because I said, yes, if you suddenly jump into the Xbox Series X 5 years into the gen and you get to enjoy an ocean of Game Pass games, you've not lived through the dark times of Xbox. You don't understand why 4 years into the gen, someone like myself stops using my Xbox, which was my main console, and started using my PlayStation more.
Wow, so quite literally within like the first 30 seconds, I know it's a lot to try and digest right here, but he's basically just stating that apparently Couple of Fools doesn't really understand anything about the Xbox because he, I guess, got into playing Xbox late, which just doesn't even make any fucking sense. It just kind of comes across to me as just like insane cope at this point. But like, I feel like I just need to mention right here that by his own admission, he also hasn't lived through the dark times of Xbox. Hell, if I remember correctly, a lot of his more flaccid takes that he's had over the years has literally just been him shitting on Xbox and sucking Sony's dick at every single turn. Like, it just comes across to me as insane. Probably the only time in which he didn't suck Sony's dick was probably at least during the early months of Helldivers before Sony immediately fucked it up. Probably by then, after Sony basically fucked up Helldivers 2, he was probably sucking off Helldivers 2 like there was no tomorrow. But but regardless of that, it just comes across to me as just like extreme copium. Who the fuck cares if he got in late? You're also not invested in the console either. He's more invested than you. What does that fucking say?
You don't understand that because you're coming to PlayStation late. I'm sorry, you're coming to Xbox late. So, of course you think Xbox is great when you jump in 5 years in and you don't have to wait on the cadence of games. You get to boot up Game Pass and play Stalker 2 and Indiana Jones and Hi-Fi Rush and Forza Horizon. Just boom, 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 boom. You didn't have to wait 4 years to get 3 decent games.
I'm pretty sure that there's a lot more than just 3 decent games. I mean, hell, literally when we were going over some of the games that were on Game Pass on stream, some of the games that exist on Game Pass were like games like Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, the entire, like, Elder Scrolls series, or at least Skyrim, and maybe like a few others, at least to my knowledge. Like, a lot of really good games existed on Xbox. like, it existed on Xbox Game Pass even before Hi-Fi Rush ended up really taking the world by storm, even before, especially before Indiana Jones really took over, before a lot of the games that you just listed off right there. Before those games, there was Doom, Doom Eternal, maybe a couple of others that I can't really think of off the top of my head that were also available on Xbox. You're completely ignoring those just so that way you can make this dumbass point of yours, Mr. Discount Jimmy Neutron. I really have no fucking clue what it is that you're even trying to claim right here, other than just, I guess, couple of fools can't be a fan of Xbox because he came into the scene late, which is just extremely fucking stupid, and I genuinely hate the stupid gatekeeping nonsense that a lot of these dumb motherfuckers like to pull out. Like, they love to just go like, you can't be a real fan if you don't do X, Y, and Z, and I've made it very clear that I fucking hate those kinds of arguments. I've talked about them at least a good couple times on this channel, and you know, whenever those kinds of things come up, I get extremely fucking heated because this kind of mentality is just what breeds fanboyism, and I fucking hate it.
Like, my point was very fair to him. It was like, value is subjective. So yes, if you don't do anything with Xbox for 5 years and then you jump in, your experience is going to be different than mine. I mained Xbox. I couldn't wait for the Series X to come out. The cadence of first-party games was terrible. The quality of first-party games was terrible. They kept shipping games late. They kept shipping games at 30 FPS. They've been nothing but disappointment for 5 years.
Again, it just comes across as extreme copium because, again, for the past 5 years, at least to my knowledge, or at least maybe for the past 4 or so years, I don't remember when exactly he started gaining prominence by trying to go after the commentary community for supposedly, you know, giving their critique on you. I still remember that shit, and it's the only thing that I really can even remember you of, is the fact that you're that much of a sensitive pussy. I mean, this video is already proof enough that he's an oversensitive little bitch, because he can't seem to handle even the lightest amount of, like, critique towards him. I guarantee you a Couple of Fools video wasn't even that bad, and here he is crashing out about it, as if, like, you know, the dude fucking insulted his entire bloodline. I don't really understand the point. And again, you literally just mentioned earlier that you, like, jumped ship from Xbox onto PlayStation really early on, so you didn't even get to experience any of the shit that happened. And again, this just comes across as heavy amounts of cope. Supreme cope.
So of course you're going to come in late and get to skip over all the crap and have a better time. And then you're going to say, oh, Quick Resume's such a great feature. Not really. Not really. Pound for pound, point by point, it's not that great when you say, well, all you got to do is put your PlayStation in rest mode.
What in the fuck is this comparison? No, I'm actually being dead honest. What the fuck is this comparison? Like, these aren't even comparable. Rest mode and Quick Resume are like two completely different fucking features? What are you talking about? No, I'm actually just being dead honest. What the fuck are you even talking about? Like, what is this comparison? What is this copium-fueled fucking comparison that I'm hearing? God, I don't even know if he knows what he's talking about at this point.
Quick Resume just feels like an evolution of rest mode. Yeah, like, if you want me to be compelled that, like, hey, Series X is great, Xbox is actually pretty great, well, of course you think that when you come in 5 years later.
Thank you for repeating the same exact point, like, for what, like the 6th fucking time already? Again, who cares how late he got into it? He's having fun, and that's really all that should matter. It shouldn't matter what team you're fucking on whenever comes your favorite plastic box. At the end of the day, you're just a man-child screaming over the fact that somebody doesn't like your personal favorite plastic box anymore, and you need to come up with any reason possible as to why the other plastic box is supposedly worse. It's just stupid at the end of the day, and you probably just need to go outside, Mr. Reforge. Maybe stop snorting the fucking coffee grounds from your shittily made coffee for like 5 minutes. Do some self-reflection for once in your life. I don't fucking know. Do something else other than fucking console war garbage. Jesus.
And you didn't have to suffer through 30 FPS Starfield at launch, Redfall at launch, which was a disaster regardless of 30 FPS or not. You didn't have to live through Halo Infinite. And looking forward, and I covered Halo Infinite a bunch, and we did community game nights with Halo Infinite. You didn't have to live through watching that game slowly die from ineptitude and destruction from Microsoft.
Again, I highly doubt that he's even lived through Halo Infinite, let's be honest here, because again, as he admitted earlier, he jumped ship earlier because of the fact that it didn't have enough fucking games for him to, I guess it just didn't have enough of exclusives or anything along those lines. I don't fucking know what it is. But, like, if you're gonna be bitching about games running at 30 FPS, again, there's a little saying, you know, that goes something along the lines of, like, something like stones and glass houses, because one of the biggest problems whenever it comes to Sony's consoles is that every single game is locked to a maximum of 30 FPS on PlayStation, on any PlayStation console. At least with fucking Xbox, maybe there's a possibility that you can get 60. I'm not entirely sure, never really played Xbox, never really looked into the specs, but if 30 FPS as the cap is also a problem with fucking, you know, Xbox, then my point honestly still stands, because again, you're just bitching about the fact that games on consoles run at lower frame rates, and it's a problem across all consoles. What the fuck are you bitching about?
So yeah, you want to strut into Xbox 5 years into the gen and act like I'm the fanboy because you're having a great time, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course you are. You missed out on 4 years of waiting and frustration and disappointment and terribleness.
Well, maybe if you don't want to be called a fanboy, then maybe don't use fucking fanboy logic like this. This is literally fanboy logic. The fanboy logic of, well, of course you're enjoying my competitor's console because you came in later, and therefore you didn't have to sit through disappointment after disappointment where you could have stayed with the prestigious PlayStation. Like, dude, stop huffing your own fucking farts and realize that, again, you're just fighting over plastic boxes. Again, the dude is just having fun with it. What is wrong with these kinds of people? Can people just not have fun with consoles anymore?
You missed out on all of that. So you want to call me a fanboy and put me in your video? You go right the frick ahead. I hope you continue to have a great time on Xbox.
Very clearly not, because here you are crashing out over the fact that he's having fun on Xbox. So, yeah, this entire clip alone proves that you aren't okay with that.
So you want to call me a fanboy because I walked away from my main console because the last 4 years have been a joke and the market represents that with how poorly the device has sold? You go right ahead and call me a fanboy. I don't care.
Okay, we gladly will, because, again, this is pure and simple fanboy logic.
Like, I'm just a consumer with standards.
I feel like that line right there alone is a joke that writes itself, because very clearly your standards must be extremely fucking low.
That's it. I have standards, and my main platform disappointed me for 4 years in a row, and I don't really turn it on anymore.
Isn't your main platform like PlayStation right now? You're quite literally admitting that PlayStation has also had nothing but disappointment. What is your point? I don't get it.
Simple as that. If that makes me a fanboy, it sounds like you use labels because it's easier than accepting that maybe people are different than you. Like I did when I talked about him. I was like, value's subjective. Like his experience has been vastly different. So yeah, if you haven't been on Xbox in a decade, and then you suddenly jump in and sign up for Game Pass, of course it's going to feel like you're swimming in an ocean of value.
This is like the, what is it, like the 7th time that he's repeated this fucking point? I think it's pretty safe that we can probably just round it off right here. Again, if you're going to complain about being called a fanboy, then maybe don't be using fanboy logic in order to justify your shitty goddamn take. But overall, it's just Reforge at this point, okay? It's about what you would expect from Mr. Reforge, and of course the silliness just would continue from there. The full clip is like 8 minutes long, and I don't feel like sitting through all that, especially given the fact that the first half of it was literally just him repeating the same point because he doesn't have any other point beyond there, which just proves that he doesn't even have a point to begin with. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we could just round it off right there. Anyways, that's gonna do for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. That's very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also go ahead and follow me on Blue Sky, join the Discord server, and yeah. This has been Sandy, and have yourselves a nice day.